I came home earlier than expected from a business trip. And then, from the bathroom of my supposedly empty house, I heard my husband's voice. Why would he be in the bath at such an odd hour? He's supposed to be at work right now. I nervously phoned my husband Nick, and as expected, he yelled back, "I'm at work." If that's the case, whose voice is this that I'm hearing? At that moment, everything clicked. Unforgivable. To betray me, his wife? There's no way I can stay quiet about something like this. I finally decided to get my revenge on my husband. My name is Kathy. I'm 30 years old. After graduating from university, I got a job at a certain food company, and I'm now in my 8th year. Recently, I've been given the role of team leader for a new project, and I'm living fulfilling days. I married Nick 2 years ago. It started at a mixer, but I've been able to lead a happy, married life with him, who is more like a friend. While I have to commute to my office and regularly go on business trips, he works from home half the week. The policy at his company changed, and it's been like this since a year ago. Initially, Nick was a bit confused by the sudden change in his work style, but now he's glad to be able to relax and work at home. When I'm on a business trip or such, he takes care of all the housework, which is very helpful. Then, one day, after I came home from work and was changing in my room, I noticed something. Huh? Was there this little left? I remove my makeup in my room when I change, but I felt that my liquid makeup remover in the container looked slightly less than I remembered. Being frugal by nature, I only use the bare minimum of everything, not just makeup remover. Even for toner and emulsion, I only use a little bit, just what I need. Because of this, I'm more sensitive to the amount of makeup remover than others. Why? When I came back yesterday, it hadn't been this much less. Did Nick accidentally spill it by any chance? Unable to shake off the sense of discomfort, I called out to Nick, who was preparing dinner. "Hey Nick, did you go into my room today?" He stopped his work and turned around saying, "Huh?" With a puzzled expression on my husband's face, I briefly explained the situation. "My makeup remover seems to be running low. Do you know anything about this?"
No, I have no idea.
"I see. I thought maybe you might have accidentally spilled it while cleaning my room."
I've been working from home all day today. Maybe it's all in your head, Kathy.
You think so? But I'm certain it's less than before.
Kathy, you're probably just tired. Look, dinner's ready. Why don't you sit down and wait?
All right, thanks, Nick. Being told it was all in my head by my husband, I decided to convince myself so that day. Still, a faint sense of unease swirled in my mind. 2 weeks later, I had been on a business trip and was returning home after a long while. My husband Nick greeted me with a smile and prepared dinner as usual. That day, I was so tired that I went straight to eat and take a bath without even removing my makeup. Standing in front of the bathroom sink to do my skincare after the bath, I noticed something. What? What is this? My usual toner, moisturizer, and even my beauty cream were noticeably diminished. These were high-end skincare products that I had treated myself to just a month ago. Being frugal by nature, I was using them sparingly and should have had plenty left. This time, it was clear that they had definitely been used. Someone must have used it. With that thought in my mind, I dashed towards Nick. "Nick, did you use my toner?"
Why would I use your stuff, Kathy?
But it's strange. No matter how I look at it, a lot has gone.
Oh, not this again. Just like last time, isn't it just your imagination, Kathy?
No, it's different this time. If it's not you, Nick, then someone has been sneaking into our house. At my words, Nick burst out laughing and retorted.
So, you're saying someone came to steal your toner? No way, Kathy. I've been working from home these past 2 days when you weren't around.
But...
Besides, if it was a burglar, they would take what they wanted, right? Who's ever heard of a burglar who uses a little bit of something and then leaves without taking anything? That's an extremely conscientious thief.
Well, I suppose so.
See, you're imagining things, Kathy. If you're that worried, shall I increase my days working from home?
Nick's company allows flexible work arrangements, including working from home, as long as he comes to the office on certain required days. Until recently, half of his week was remote, and the other half was in the office, but considering the security situation, it would be reassuring to have Nick around more. I asked Nick to work from home as much as possible and decided to keep an eye on the situation. 1 week later, since then, the contents of my skincare products didn't decrease anymore, and I was able to return to my normal routine. I had started to think that perhaps it was all in my head, but then something happened. On this particular day, I was off work and went shopping by myself. After finishing my makeup in my room, I opened my jewelry box to get something to wear and gasped. What? What is this? Why are so many things missing? Much to my shock, several of my favorite earrings and rings were missing. Even the gold necklace I had inherited from my grandmother was gone. There were numerous valuable accessories I had bought as treats for my hard work. There were also gifts from friends and mementos I had received from Nick. I had carefully kept the necklace from my grandmother, waiting for the perfect occasion to wear it. What's more, only the expensive brand items were gone. The inexpensive items I bought at novelty shops were neatly left in the box. There's no doubt, someone definitely stole them. The person who stole my toner must have done this too. Convinced there had been an intruder, I showed Nick the contents of my jewelry box and declared loudly, "Nick, look at this. See, it wasn't all in my head."
What's gotten into you? Is there something wrong with what's in the box?
Until just the other day, there were rings and earrings in here. Now, all the brand items are missing. It's strange for so many valuable things to just disappear.
Are you sure it's not just your imagination?
I told you, it's not my imagination. Only the brand items were taken. Isn't that strange?
Maybe you just forgot you threw them out yourself.
No way! Why would I throw out my own jewelry? Even the necklace that was my grandmother's heirloom is gone. It's not something that can just be explained away as all in my head, right? I pulled out my smartphone and dialed 911. Then my husband, Nick, swiftly took the phone away from me and hung up. Nick, what are you doing?
That's my line. Why on earth would you call the police?
Because someone stole my personal stuff. There might be fingerprints left behind. It makes sense to report it, doesn't it?
That's just an overreaction. Plus, I was at home the whole time. If someone had come in, I would have noticed, right?
So how do you explain this? No matter how I look at it, it's weird.
First off, calm down. I'll help you look around the house, okay?
Nick attempted to soothe me by gently rubbing my back, but it was nothing more than a weak consolation to me. I took photos of every corner of the room so that I noticed if anything has changed. With this evidence, no one could dismiss it as just my imagination. If we can't find anything after some time, I'll definitely contact the police then. I decided that in my heart and acted calm and normal in front of my husband. A few weeks later, I had another business trip. Originally scheduled for a week, I finished work early and decided to come home a day earlier than planned. Nick had been in charge of all the housework while I was away, so I thought I'd make dinner for him that evening. With that in mind, I bought a ton of groceries and headed home. The moment I walked into the entrance, I instinctively felt something was off. And then I noticed an unfamiliar pair of women's shoes at the entrance. Nick should be home, so why are there women's shoes? Could it be the thief is a woman? In a panic, I found myself dialing Nick's number. He answered after a few rings, to which I hurriedly said, "Hello?" To that, he grumpily retorted,
"Don't call me out of the blue. I'm in the middle of work, you know."
"I'm sorry, Nick. Where are you right now?"
I'm obviously at work. Consider the time, will ya?
I thought you were working from home today. Why aren't you at home? I'm in a bind here.
Sorry, but I'm busy right now. Bye.
Wait, Nick! He abruptly ended the call. I couldn't face a burglar on my own. I had to call him back and ask him to come home early. Just as I thought this, I heard voices coming from the direction of the bathroom. Quietly, I tiptoed closer to the bathroom. When I silently entered the changing area, I could see two silhouettes reflected on the shower curtain. From inside the bathroom, I heard someone talking to my husband. Was that your wife on the phone just now?
Yeah. Damn, she called while I was having fun. She should just quietly do her job, haha.
Nick, you're really a piece of work, you know. Your wife is working hard and here you are, bringing me into your house.
What's so bad about that? She's a workaholic. It's fine, haha.
That's terrible. Isn't your wife earning more than you do? You shouldn't say such things.
Well, I admit I'm living in this nice house thanks to her, haha. I do all the housework, so bringing a girl home once in a while should be okay, right? Haha.
Haha, Nick, you're the best. My husband and his mistress's laughter, mocking me, echoed in the bathroom. At that moment, everything clicked. The dwindling makeup remover and skincare products. The missing pieces of my jewelry. They were all used and stolen by his mistress. My husband, whom I had trusted and sought help from, was the real culprit all along. Unaware of all this, I had been consulting with him. He had resisted calling the police and tried to pass everything off as my imagination, all to keep his affair from being discovered. At that moment, I felt something inside me break down. This is unforgivable. It is absolutely not okay. I stepped outside and took out my cell phone again. Catching my breath, I dialed my parents and my brother. Hey, it's me. I know it's sudden, but could you come over right now? I made the same call to my husband's parents and had them gather at our house. A few dozen minutes later, when everyone had gathered, I explained the situation. Right now, my husband and his mistress are in my bathroom.
What did you just say? Is that true, Kathy?
With his face reddened in anger, my father asked. Yes, it's true. I heard their conversation with my own ears. Upon hearing this, everyone's faces turned pale.
That scumbag!
Father, please, hold back for now. I rushed to stop my father, who looked ready to storm in any moment.
How dare he tramples on my precious daughter's feelings! I can't leave until I punched a guy who cheats while his wife is away.
Father, I understand you are angry too, but right now I need your cooperation for my revenge.
Revenge? Do you have a plan?
I was originally supposed to come home tomorrow, so I think this mistress will probably stay late. I want to sneak into the house without them noticing, have everyone see their affair, and ask you all to be my witnesses.
Got it. If it'll make you feel better, Kathy, I'll cooperate.
Thank you, Dad. And so we quietly and carefully snuck into the house. Nick and his mistress seemed to have already gotten out of the bath, and now I could hear their voices coming from the bedroom. Listening to their conversation, it seems like they were about to get intimate. We each activated the cameras on our smartphones, waiting for the right moment. A few minutes later, suppressing my rising disgust, I flung the bedroom door open with all my might. Enough is enough, you two. As expected, they were lounging happily on the bed. We captured the scene with our phones, taking photos and recording videos all at once.
Hey, what the hell is this?
Stop it! Don't record this! Nick and his mistress cried desperately and it echoed throughout the room. Ignoring them, we continued to record. My father and father-in-law forcefully yanked the blanket off the two as they tried to hide under it. Nick's mistress's clothes, which she had stretched out for from the bed, were thrown into the hallway by my mother-in-law. They seemed to have resigned themselves to the situation, sitting in their underwear a few minutes later. Nick lowered his head towards me.
I'm sorry, Kathy. It was just a moment of weakness.
A moment of weakness? So that makes cheating okay?
Well, that's,
It was that woman who used my stuff and stole, right? You knew all along, yet you dared to say,
Isn't it all in your head? I said I'm sorry. I thought it would be okay if I just used a little.
What? I could have forgiven you if it was just my toner, but my jewelry? Surely she's the one who stole it, right? As I glared at the lover, the woman uncomfortably looked down. I sighed, turning my attention back to my husband. Do you have any idea how much pain you've caused me? It's not just about the cheating. I was betrayed by the very person I trusted and confided in. It was just a moment of weakness is not an acceptable excuse. Enough of your nonsense.
No, you got it wrong. It was just a fling with her. The one I love is you, Kathy.
Shut up. I can't trust anything you say anymore. I heard you say things about me in the bathroom. I'll never forgive you two. I will sue you for every penny you stole from me. I hope you two rot in hell. The aftermath was like a living nightmare. My husband crying and begging for forgiveness, and his mistress lying on the floor crying nonstop. My father, father-in-law, and brother took turns beating him up and demanding he sign the divorce papers. My mother and mother-in-law prepared an impromptu promissory note to ensure his mistress paid back for what she stole from me, forcing her to sign it. Once all the paper was signed, my husband and his mistress were thrown out of the house. Their clothes and belongings were tossed out into the yard, and the woman quickly fled the scene. My husband, who kept screaming, "Forgive me!" had also given up and disappeared in half an hour. After that, I divorced my husband. My father-in-law introduced me to a lawyer he knew, and I demanded full compensation for my ex-husband and his mistress. I demanded the woman to return the jewelry she stole, and if that was not possible, I demanded her to pay a lump sum as compensation. My ex-husband was exposed for repeatedly cheating while claiming to be working remotely, and was subsequently fired from his company. He seemed to have to pay back a portion of his salary he received while working from home. The woman also quickly abandoned him, and he fell in a breakdown not only in his professional life, but also in his personal relationships. But I don't feel any sympathy for them. It's all their own fault. Meanwhile, I canceled the lease on the apartment I used to live in with my ex-husband, and now I'm living alone in a condominium near my workplace. I have some money left over from the divorce settlement, and I plan to use it to go on a trip with my parents soon. I can't think about remarrying right now. I need a break from marriage for a while. But if the opportunity arises in the future, I would like to be with someone honest and sincere. Someone who doesn't lie. In the meantime, I will try to develop a good eye for men.